seen that in the 3 decades from 1973 to 2003, the tertiary sector expanded the most and became the largest contributor to India's GDP. However, the primary sector is the largest employer, with more than 50% of the working population engaged in it. As shown by the graph here, the increase in production in manufacturing and services is not matched by an increase in employment opportunities in these sectors. The primary sector employs over 50% of the working population, but has a share of only 25% in the GDP, which indicates its low productivity. The reason productivity appears low in the primary sector is that more people than required are engaged in agriculture. Though with more workers the labor effort gets divided, removing a few workers does not affect agricultural production. Thus, some agricultural workers only appear to be employed. This is called underemployment or disguised unemployment. Given an opportunity, the surplus workers could be employed at someplace else, where they could work to their full capacity and increase their family's income. Many workers in the manufacturing and services sectors also do not find regular work and suffer from underemployment. Thus, there is a pressing need to create more employment opportunities to increase the productivity of our workforce. This brings us to the question, how can we create more employment opportunities? Building dams, roads and irrigation canals to improve rural infrastructure can generate a lot of employment for local people. Providing easy, affordable loans to farmers to increase production also helps in reducing underemployment in the primary sector. Promoting agro-based industries like crushers, grain polishing mills and cold storage facilities also generates more employment in rural areas. Expanding education and healthcare services will not only improve the literacy and health status of the population, but also create thousands of job opportunities. Promoting the tourism sector can result in the creation of around 35 lakh more jobs. Proper implementation of employment generation schemes launched by the government is also required to provide more employment to people. The National Rural Employment Guarantee Act is one such scheme launched by the central government in 2005. NREGA guarantees 100 days of employment per year to every person willing to work, or an unemployment allowance if work is not provided. You have already studied about the classification of economic activities into primary, secondary and tertiary sectors depending on their nature. Economic activities can also be classified into organized and unorganized sectors depending on their conditions of employment. Meet Manav and Ria. Let us understand the difference in the organized and unorganized sectors by looking at their working conditions. Ria works in an office where she reports for work at 9 a.m. and leaves for home at 5 p.m. If Ria is required to work for more hours, she is paid overtime money. Ria gets paid casual and medical leave, besides an off on all Sundays and public holidays. On joining work, Ria was given an appointment letter stating the terms and conditions of her work. Ria always gets her salary on time every month. Ria is entitled to all the allowances as per government rules, like Provident Fund, medical allowance, travel allowance, etc. Riya works in the organized sector with regular terms of employment as per government rules and guidelines. Manav works as a daily wage laborer at a construction site and reports for work at 8 a.m. Manav is supposed to work till 5 p.m. but often works till much later. He gets no overtime for the extra hours of work. Manav does not get paid leave even in sickness and works on all days, including public holidays. Manav was not given any letter of appointment and can be removed from work any day. Manav is not entitled to any allowances or benefits other than his salary, which itself is also often not paid on time. Manav works in the unorganized sector, where government rules and guidelines for employment are not followed. Here is a comparison between the working conditions in the organized and unorganized sectors. When the organized sector offers better employment conditions, why do people work in the unorganized sector? Let's find out. The organized sector offers fewer employment opportunities than the unorganized sector. Some companies from the organized sector operate in the unorganized sector to save taxes and to avoid giving the employees their due benefits. Since the 1990s, a lot of people employed in the organized sector have lost their jobs and or forced to take up employment in the unorganized sector. Let us now look at the groups of people who need protection in the unorganized sector. The vulnerable groups that need protection in the unorganized sector in rural India are landless farm laborers, small and marginal farmers, and traditional artisans like weavers and potters. Workers in the rural unorganized sector can be supported by the timely delivery of seeds and other agricultural inputs, affordable loans, and expansion of storage and marketing facilities for crops. The vulnerable groups in urban areas include casual laborers, street vendors, rag pickers, and people employed in small-scale industries. Workers in the unorganized sector in urban areas can be supported by government assistance to small-scale industries and by finding ways to protect the large number of casual workers. People from the scheduled castes and tribes need extra protection as they also face social discrimination besides the other disadvantages of the unorganized sector.